When I say, who's the master? You say, no, no.
What is up, guys? Sean of the King here, back with another video. So, is this the birth of Gearless Joe? So, we are on episode 4 of Megalobox. You know, it was a different episode. I must say, like this was definitely one of those episodes where it kind of like mellowed out, where you thought it would be actually more hype. So in this episode, we actually get Joe's first sanctioned match in the Megalo Boxing Tournament. And again, this is against Shark, who we've already known from the previous episode, is kind of known for cheating or is known for, underhanded schemes. And one thing that I didn't actually see coming in this episode was at the end of episode 2, I'm sorry, the end of episode 3, we find out that the gear that Joe actually had on his body actually broke. So I assume that, over the course of the next episode that they would get more gear. But they actually did a really smart thing by actually just turning a negative into a positive, by actually not having him have any gear and still boxing. And it actually does twofold, because again, it's very intriguing for folks that are trying to watch, but it also provides him the opportunity to move up, because people are going to underestimate him, and that's exactly what happens in this episode. Now, as far as the boxing itself goes, I thought some of that matchup was okay, but I still think that first bout with Yuri in episode 1, towards the end of episode 1 into episode 2, was far superior to this matchup for obvious reasons. At first I was kind of like, how is Joe going to stand up against these other boxers when they have on this gear and he has nothing? Because what you guys have to understand, that with this gear, it's not just for defense purposes. So it makes your punches stronger as well. Like from the forearm, when you throw in a punch, this machinery is making your punch 5 to 10 times stronger. So for Joe to be able to stand in a ring with these guys is a great insult to them. So I could actually see and understand why Shark was kind of pissed off and agitated. But Joe ended up getting the win, and it was, again, like I said, it was an okay bout. But what actually saved this episode for me, and which actually made me give this episode a positive, is the world building. So we learn more about the city of where Megaloboxing takes place. We learn a little bit more about the actual rules of Megaloboxing in the sanctioned form, where you get the 3 disqualifications. There is the unlimited rounds. And so no matter what, and the only way you can win is either by TKO or KO. So that's kind of what we learn about the actual match itself. So in that actual match with Shark, we kind of also figure out that, Joe is not invincible. Like, he ended up taking one of those shots in that match, and it literally shook him. Like, he almost got knocked out from just taking one blow without his gear. So it just kind of also showed, and I was glad they did that, because if this would have been a situation where he was able to go into this ring and kind of just mop the floor with this guy, it would have been believable in my eyes. I'd have been like, eh. But the fact that they actually had him struggle, and it actually made it look like, he was not smooth sailing in this bout, it actually just really helped me out a little bit. One thing that they actually also did that was a little weird was they didn't show the other 2 matches. So the way that Pop set it up is he's supposed to have 5 bouts. 3 of those bouts are going to be with his Gearless Joe persona, where he doesn't actually use any gear at all. And his last 2 fights are supposed to be the serious fights, where he will be using gear. And those are the matches that's going to get him into the final tournament, where he can get back and fight against Yuri. So we make it to they show the first 3 fights in this episode. So the first fight with Shark, they showed it in its entirety, but then the next 2 fights are shown through a montage, and we kind of get the gist of what's going on. At first, when I saw this, I didn't know. I kind of felt a little apprehensive about it, but at the same time, we don't want a lot of drawn out drama, and you can actually figure out why we don't want drawn out drama towards the end of this episode. So as far as the rankings go, Joe is at 256. After he beat Shark, he jumped up to 139. And after he beat his second opponent, he jumps up to now 102. So he's now ranked 102, and he's going to go against the 17th ranked boxer, Megalo. Now, here's the interesting part. So we got two major revelations in this episode. We get Pops' name. His name is Nobu. Naboo. And we apparently, and again, this is just me speculating, Joe's next opponent, his fourth opponent, is going to be, we don't get his name, but my assumption is that this is somebody that's strongly connected to Nobu, aka Pops. And my guess is it's probably the boxer that he was dealing with before Joe. At least that's my take on it so far. We all know that Pops had a history with megaloboxing before. We know when he was able to get himself registered, and he was talking to other guys, and they were kind of along the same lines, talking about it's good to see you back in the actual game. So we're probably going to get some more backstory next week on who this guy is and why they had a falling out. My guess is that this guy was too dangerous or wasn't listening to his coach, so he dropped him. Who knows? There's a huge scar on the side of his face, so we don't know where that came from either. Was this like due to Nobu's negligence, or is this due to this guy's crazy willing to fight? We don't know. But again, the guy looks very interesting. It looks like Joe's going to definitely have his hands full with this match. Now, a little bit of a prediction that I probably see happening here is that Pops will probably tell Joe that he can't fight this guy. This guy's on a whole nother level, that you really don't want to deal with him. We'll probably get some sort of back and forth, like, how do you know this guy? That kind of same trope that's going on. Overall, it's interesting. Definitely, it's a lot more interesting than a prospect of a good battle than it was this week with Shark. So overall, like I said, this is a good episode. I definitely enjoyed the world building. I like the little layers that they're adding on to the show right now. Introducing Nobu, we get to find out who his name is. Seeing that Joe is jumping in the rankings to level 102, and getting the attention of Yuri's master. That was another little thing. So there's a scene where all over the city, even in the slums, people are starting to see Joe is climbing up in the rankings, and it catches the attention of Yuri's boss. Now she sees him and recognizes Joe immediately. So that was also very interesting, because you can also see she was doing this thing where she was like reaching for her hand. I don't know if she was apprehensive about the whole thing. What I hope doesn't happen, and again, I'm a little nervous, is I hope this isn't a situation where Joe rises up in the ranking, and right before he's getting ready to fight Yuri, she feels it is a threat to him losing, and she tries to pull some sort of fast one to get his license revoked so that Yuri couldn't fight Joe. That's my fear right now. I'm hoping that with Yuri's pride and how the fact that he wants to fight Joe just as badly at his full strength, we won't get any sort of BS like that. But again, you just really don't know. So, I mean, that's pretty much it for this episode. It was pretty straightforward. Satcho, I mean, he did his thing as ring boy. He kind of inputted and put his 2 cents in. He didn't abandon his little street rat friends. Those guys are still around the town, just posting up flyers and kind of doing their part. Again, this is still a good show. I still recommend people watch Megalobox. Again, definitely check out my content, subscribe to the channel, and click on bell notifications. And those for you who are here for my Darling in the Franxx videos, I'm actually going to upload the video tomorrow with some new details on what's going on with Darling in the Franxx this week, as well as a couple little surprises, so stay tuned. Again, this is Shilling the King. Have an awesome night, guys.